Shields joins us now with more on this. She's a British migrant in Europe and the spokesperson for the advocacy group British in Europe. Hi, Laura. Thank you for joining us here on Euronews Tonight. So you're among those living in the EU. How do you think the negotiations have played out?
Well, I think the negotiations have gone very badly if you're a British person living in Europe, because the final deal does not include free movement. And that is absolutely essential for many working people. And 80% of British people living in Europe are working age or younger. At the moment, cross-border movement, free movement, cross-border working rights, all those things have not been included in the deal, even though we were told that they would be, because we were promised that our lives would carry on as normal. So just to give you a quick example, somebody like me, I run something called a cross-border service company. I work in 18 EU countries at the moment, despite being based in Belgium. I probably make half my money doing that. I'm not going to be able to carry on doing this after Brexit. How is that delivering on the promise that we would be able to carry on as normal?
So what assurances would you want from the British government and from the EU?
Well, in the first instance, I want them to promise to keep free movement on the table for us during the transition phase, and also once we get into the future relationship. I think that's highly unlikely, because both Theresa May and Sajid Javid today have said that free movement will come to an end no matter what happens. So I'm not that hopeful. But at the very least, I would like to see both the EU and the UK stepping up and ring-fencing our existing deal, even though it's inferior to what we had before, and also the rights of the 3 million EU citizens living in the UK. Because if we end up in a situation where there is no deal, we would see 5 million people potentially becoming illegal immigrants overnight. It would be a giant mess, and people have been in limbo for long enough.
Well, there is a transition period, though, before it comes to that stage. You've mentioned freedom of movement. What are the other areas you're most concerned about?
Well, free movement is one of them, and also so is registration. I mean, your viewers will probably have heard of the settled status scheme that the British government is insisting EU nationals will have to take part in as of, I think it's coming in from April next year. Well, we're now seeing that there are various EU governments that are also interested in making some Brits in Europe apply for settled status as well, which means we could be in a situation where people are having to provide documents that they didn't know that they would have to. People would have to reapply for their own lives. And if you look at somewhere like France, with the country that you're broadcasting from, the French government estimates there could be 200,000 British people living in France. France is one of the few only EU countries that doesn't require EU citizens to register, which means that we could end up in a headachy situation if there's no deal, or even after Brexit, because people are scrambling to register and sort out their status.
And Laura, the UK Parliament are currently debating that Brexit deal. What's your message to the politicians there?
Well, my message specifically to the politicians, and particularly the government, is meet us. We have put in numerous requests to meet both Theresa May, not Sajid Javid, but both the former Brexit secretaries, so Dominic Raab and David Davis. We know a lot of MPs who don't understand the difficulty that we're in. They think citizens' rights is a done deal. So our message would be meet us, find out what's really going on, because citizens' rights have not been protected. It doesn't matter what the government says. For the people who are going to have to live with this deal, it does not allow us to carry on as normal.
OK, Laura Shields, thank you for joining us from British in Europe. Great to talk to you. Thank you.